Let's be honest. From crispy fried donuts to cheesy pizzas, from stacked burgers to fluffy pancakes, there's one silent ingredient that finds its way into almost every delicious bite in America. White flour. It's in your breakfast. It's in your snacks. And it's definitely in your desserts. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what exactly is white flour? How is it made? And what happens inside those massive factories before it lands in your kitchen? Well, today, you're going to find out. We're taking you behind the scenes of one of the most consumed ingredients in the world. From golden wheat fields to stainless steel machines, from raw grain to that silky white powder. This is the fascinating journey of how white flour is made. Let's get started. To understand white flour, we need to start with wheat, the grain it's made from. Yes, that same wheat that gives us whole grain bread and tortillas is also the source of the smooth, fine powder we call white flour. But here's the catch. Not all parts of wheat make it into white flour. Each wheat kernel has 3 layers. First, bran, the outer shell, rich in fiber. Second, germ, the nutrient-packed core. Third, endosperm, the soft, starchy center. White flour is made only from the endosperm. The bran and germ, removed, tossed aside. Why? To make the flour lighter, softer, and more shelf-stable. But in the process, it loses most of its natural nutrients and fiber. That's what gives white flour its signature texture and its controversial reputation. Now let's see how it's made on a massive industrial scale. It all begins in the fields, where tall stalks of wheat wave in the wind, waiting to be harvested. Using giant harvesting machines, farmers cut the wheat and separate the grain from the plant. From there, the wheat is packed into large containers and transported to flour mills, where the real magic begins. At the factory, the wheat is unloaded into underground hoppers through grated openings. These hoppers are connected to elevators that carry the wheat to the top of the plant. Because most modern mills work top to bottom, using gravity to move materials through each stage. But before any processing begins, samples are sent to the lab to test for moisture content, protein levels, gluten strength, and mineral content. Only wheat that meets strict standards moves forward. The rest rejected, and then the cleaning begins. This isn't your simple rinse under the tap. Wheat cleaning in factories is a complex 9-stage industrial process designed to eliminate everything from dust to metal. It begins with drum sieves, where a rotating drum filters out large items like twigs, plastic, and paper. Next, gravity separators shake and sort the grains by weight, pushing lighter particles like grass seeds to the top. The flow balancer ensures consistent flow, like cruise control for wheat, while magnetic separators extract metal pieces such as nails, screws, or wire fragments. Vibro separators then remove smaller debris like broken husks and straw through rapid vibrations. The destoner separates heavy particles using air and vibration, pushing wheat up and stones down. In the scourer machine, rotating brushes scrub off dirt and fungus from the grain surface. An aspiration channel follows, using blasts of air to remove lingering dust. Finally, the grain washer and dryer thoroughly cleans and dries the wheat, leaving it pure and ready for the next stage of processing. Before milling begins, there's one more critical step: conditioning. Wheat is passed through a moisture sensor, which checks how dry or wet it is. Then it's sprayed with water inside a high-speed mixer called a turboizer. This softens the endosperm and toughens the bran, making separation easier during milling. The moistened wheat is stored for 12 to 24 hours, allowing it to absorb the water evenly. Only then does the actual grinding process begin. The cleaned wheat now flows into the roller mills, the heart of the white flour making process. Here, each grain passes through pairs of rollers spinning at different speeds. Instead of being completely crushed, the rollers gently crack the wheat open, separating it into three parts: the bran, outer shell, the germ, nutrient-rich core, and the endosperm, the starchy center. This mix then moves into a purifier machine, where a combination of sieves and airflow separates out the bran and germ, which are either discarded or sold, leaving behind coarse pieces of endosperm known as semolina. But to turn semolina into white flour, it needs to be ground much finer. It goes through another series of grinding rollers and then enters the plan sifter, a tall, multi-level structure filled with ultra-fine vibrating sieves. As the particles move downward, only the finest bits between 10 and 100 microns make it to the bottom. This ultra-fine powder is your raw white flour, ready for further refining or packaging. Here's something most people don't know. Freshly milled white flour isn't actually white. It's slightly yellowish. So how does it get that clean, bright look we're used to? Naturally, the flour oxidizes and whitens on its own over a few weeks. But commercial mills don't have time to wait, so they speed things up by adding small amounts of bleaching agents like potassium bromate, benzoyl peroxide, or similar chemicals. These additives give the flour its bright white appearance instantly. However, this shortcut comes with controversy. Some of these chemicals are banned or strictly regulated in many countries due to potential health concerns. That's why you'll often spot labels like unbleached flour on certain packages, meaning the flour was left to whiten naturally without any chemical treatment. So why is white flour used so widely in American food? Because it's soft, light, easy to store, and absolutely perfect for baking. Its ultra-fine texture makes it ideal for creating fluffy donuts, chewy bagels, crispy waffles, buttery biscuits, and soft cakes and cookies. Plus, the smaller the flour particles, the faster they dissolve on your tongue, delivering a richer, more indulgent taste experience. But there's a catch. In removing the bran and germ, white flour loses most of its fiber and nutrients. That means it digests quickly and causes sharp spikes in blood sugar, making it a concern for people with diabetes or insulin resistance. So while it's delicious and versatile, it's important to enjoy white flour in moderation or balance it with whole grains whenever possible. And there you have it, the full journey of white flour.